Hello, good morning everyone. So welcome to the brand new session of Selenium C Sharp automation. So this will be divided into multiple sections, and we will be covering different concepts of framework design, and how we can create a repository in Git, and how we can create an Azure pipeline and run these as a builder pipeline in Azure VMs. So this is a basics framework design session first, and so let's get started. So as you can see, this is my Visual Studio screen, and let's get started. Once we open the Visual Studio, what are the how we can create a different project, like unit test project or an unit project. So basically this is my solution, and once you open a Visual Studio, you will be getting new project creation. When so the screen should come where you can add new project like unit test project or an unit project or console app. So here I've created a unit test project, and once you click on next, you will be getting this screen like project name and location, and by default the latest .NET framework installed in that machine. So once you create this, you will be getting something similar to this. So once the project is created, let's get started. Like, what all things are required to install the Nuget packages. So Nuget packages is basically something similar to our Maven repository in Java, right? So it contains all the binaries required for that. So once you go to tools here and click on Nuget packages manager. uh, yeah, so this is the window where you can see what are the different binaries required and what you can install. So basically we require basics like Selenium and Selenium support and unit basically. So these are the different binaries like Selenium, Firefox, WebDriver, Internet Explorer, Selenium support, Selenium Chrome driver. So one by one you can install these. So for any unit you need an unit and an unit test adapter. So these are the basic binary files which are required for Selenium with C Sharp automation. So now our Nuget packages, as you know, we can download from different sources. So we can go to this tools and manage Nuget packages, and where we can download all the Nuget packages required from nuget.org. So once all these packages are installed and we are ready to go, so now our project setup is ready basically for creating the framework, and we have to implement our Selenium test into this. So before we dive into creating the different classes, let's create the folder structure so that we can partition our classes into different directories. Like, once we will be having a driver executables which will contain all the driver executables file which you have downloaded, and then we have iDriver which has a contract for defining the different web driver. So basically this is my driver context class, and here we have different definitions of web driver like Chrome driver, Fire driver, and Firefox driver we can also create. So, and the last will be all the web test methods which will be into this test classes, where I'll be creating all the test classes like this is my first test, second test, third test, and fourth test. So these are the different structures, and then basically the driver context is one of the main class where we will be creating different objects required for web driver creation, and also using the driver property where we are going to set and get the driver back from the implementation. So if you see, this is my get driver, and this is my set driver here, and I'm setting all the properties using driver stored like Chrome driver and IE driver, so like that. So and finally I'm closing the driver here. So This is high level, like how we can create the configuration classes which defines the different location of the driver executables, and also we have creating different timeouts and other browser configuration in this basically init driver method of the driver context class. So this is a high level. Before I'm going to next part, after creating all these properties, we'll go to next step where we're going to initialize the driver. And so just give me 1 second, guys. So next discussion, we'll be creating how we can create these browser instances as separate thread, basically, so that we can run these tests in parallel. So this will be covered in our next part. So as you can see, we have created different driver classes here, like Chrome driver and Firefox driver, IE driver, and each class has different init driver method. So if you see, I'm coming to this class, so test class. So this is my first test. I'm creating init driver of browser type. So browser type is basically coming from the constructor of this class. Like I'm calling the base class as my constructor of the base class, so which I'm passing browser type as Chrome. So browser type is basically the enumerator here. If you can see, it has different values like Firefox, Chrome, and IE, uh, so which is also stored in this browser class here. So these are the different values of browser type. So based on the value passed of browser type in the test class, like if it is Chrome, it will come and get stored in this reference, and by default it goes to this init driver method of driver context. So once it goes here, it will set the value here and it will take this implementation from here. Same way for if it is IE, it will be taking from here. So like that, it will start the initialize the driver here in this test class, which is like an init class, and then it will perform the remaining actions. So this is another class, another test method, another test method, and I've created 4 test methods within a single class. And so these are the different concepts. And coming to the how we are creating the thread safe object using thread local class for parallel execution. So if you can see here, like we have created thread local class which will store the object initialized by executing the thread, so that when we want to use it, it can retrieve it. Like this is my thread local object created, okay. And if we think it as a thread ID basically, and the driver object pair, each driver object will have its thread ID attached, okay. So based on the execution thread, thread local class will provide the corresponding driver object. So here we can see this is my thread local object created, and if we look at the second method, which is my get driver, which has a driver type as my generic method, okay, generic type of the driver basically. So since we have declared a thread local as object instead of standard class, okay, so it will not result in any casting error. So in the init method, basically based on the browser type. So in the init method, based on the browser type, we can create different browser object now. Like if it is Chrome, or if it is Firefox, or if it is Internet Explorer. So the driver stored property is being set in the init driver. So if you see driver stored property, this driver stored is being set here in the init driver method, and the driver stored object is returned using the get driver. So the return is coming from this get driver method. Okay, now we have everything ready. Let's create a simple test. So as you have gone through all the configurations, so now we will be going to test. So here we will be first going through how we can create different page classes first, for which contains all the UI object creation and the actual methods. So all the pages are created in this folder, like pages, suppose contact us page. So here I have using page object design pattern, I have created a iWeb element, like the finds by how XPath, yeah, and what is the XPath of that. So all the elements we are storing in this page class, and this is the page factory init element which will get the driver and initialize all these elements correspondingly, and we will utilize these elements in all the methods of the pages. So these are, there are two different methods I've created within this page. Okay, one is fill form with message, fill form without message. Now this is basically using the PUM concept, which is by using more generic approach rather than creating a regular init element. So to support page object initialization, is since it is getting appreciated from the next release, so we'll create a more generic format. Okay. Now, since all the things are covered in this pages and test classes. So one more thing is we have created a category here. And what is the order? We can order it, like if it is smoke or a regression, or what is the ordering, like how we set order in the Java Selenium. So also for parallel execution, since unit projects and unit 3 onward support parallel testing also, to support multiple iterations with different parameters, we have to use this parallelizable parallel.self, which will run the test in parallel. So more information you can get it from the unit documentation. Okay, so on the constructor of the test will have the browser. So if you see, this is the constructor and it uh, has the browser type as a parameter, so which is matching with the parameter defined in the fixture. So here also we are defining the fixture here. So how we are going to run these test classes, whether it is through parallel fixture or parallel methods. So there are different options available, uh, how we can run these fixtures parallelly. And it is similar to test setup in MS Test Framework basically, or before test method in the TestNG. Okay, so there are different attribute like setup and attribute. Like this is before test method, some setup has to be run. So which we have So when we are talking about setup attribute, like in base class, we have can also do some before test and one-time setup, like tear down or setup method we can create here. Like if you want to close all the connection of extend report, so that we can configure in the base class. So which is something similar to test setup in MS Test Framework or before test in TestNG. So which can set up all the precondition and post condition of the test. So we have not touched much of reporting and logging part in this framework. So we can do that by implementing a iLogger interface, which can log all the different Excel logs or text or Word PDF. So that's all regarding the framework part. So once the framework is ready, we can push this code into our Git repository. So I have created one Git repository, this, and this is the same code which is available here. I will paste the link of this Git URL in my video description. You can take the help and copy and clone this repository. After this, we will be pushing our code into our Azure pipeline. So as you can see, like this is my project which I've created in this Azure DevOps, and there are different pipelines which we can create. So I'll show you how we can create. So once you click on new pipeline, there are different options, like you can create either through code using YAML file or through classic editor, that is without YAML. So there are different kinds of so I'll create it from this repository, Azure Git, and we have different templates available. So we will be using this Azure.NET framework template. So if you see, this is my pipeline, build pipeline. So I will be giving something similar name here. We don't have to change much here basically. So this is my name of the pipeline, and this is the agent pool we can create through self-hosted agent or directly from the Azure hosted agents. So this is, there are different options. We can either do it from Ubuntu or Mac or Windows. I'm selecting Windows here. And coming to the agent jobs, so there are different tasks within this agent pipeline. So one is Nuget tool installer. We don't have to change much options here. Okay, just go to Nuget restore and see this is Nuget restore command, which will download all the Nuget packages from online. And think we have option to run these test cases parallel also. Okay, in the build solution, don't change anything as of now. Okay, in the agent job, we can make it as multi-agent. We can run these test cases in two agent at a time. Okay, now in build solution, don't change any path solution. These are the MS build arguments. We need to change in test assemblies also. Don't change any. This is the test.dll, which will run all the test cases from this test.dll path. And the public artifact will store all the artifact and give the name as artifact ms drop here, and it will publish into this Azure pipelines. So right now we can save this and run this. We can give some unit test, and we shall run our repository code in this Azure pipeline here. So once you run, our agent will pick up this job and it will start run the code in these two VMs. So if you can see, there are two agents which are waiting to execute. See, you can see it has initialized the job and it is downloading the Nuget installer, Nuget command. Yeah. So it is restoring the Nuget packages. Now it's going to download all the Nuget. Yeah, so now it has started building the solution. If you can see, after download, restoring the Nuget packages, it is building the project solution. Yeah, so now you can see it has solution is built. Now we are running the test. It is showing discovered 4 tests. It is starting one by one. So it is see parallelly both the agents are occupied. So it is also executing 2 unit test here. So this is one article which I blog or article which I found useful, where you can see how you can set up the build, set up the agent, self-hosted agent. And now you can run your self-hosted agent using this path. You can go through this URL. I will paste this in the description how you can configure the agent machines. So some of the commands are required and how you can run this agent as the services. Also, you can go through this Windows documentation, which is also doing the same thing. So once our jobs are executed, we'll be getting our, it will be publishing the results in this publish artifact, and see, it is already executed. I think second one is also executing. So it is showing 4 tests total and 4 tests passed. I think all the test cases got executed here. Also, you can see same result. I think is completing the publishing artifacts. So once the report is there, we can see, yeah. So you can see the execution output in this test folder here, showing 4 tests pass. You can see the output from here, like how many test cases passed. So these are the 4 tests: submit form with message, submit form without message, resubmit with message, resubmit without message. All these 4 test cases got passed. And so this is the overall outcome of this Azure pipeline, and we can show this to our stakeholders. So this is overall about our framework, Selenium C# automation using using C# and running these into agents, Azure pipelines, unit test cases. So thank you very much for going through this, and hope you enjoyed the session. Thank you very much.